Hey everybody, we're back. It's time to build this kit. The Klingon Bird of Prey, the newest release from AMT Round 2 models. It is, if you didn't see the unboxing video, it is pretty much the same as the previous releases. Since at least 2010, the 2010 release added the landing gear and such. So check that out if you're interested. But we're going to go ahead and get started building this guy. And I think we're going to try lighting it, because that's much more exciting than just a static model. But you don't have to light it if you don't want to. But hopefully my foibles and hopefully some minor triumphs will help you on your journey. So, just gathering some stuff here, kind of thinking about the initial early stages. I'm pretty sure I want to do it in the flight mode, where the wings are up but not landed. I just love the look of that. I love the attack mode too, but I think or cruise mode, I guess. So is kind of the look I would like to do with this. But let's see. So lighting, I was checking references. It doesn't seem there's a lot of pictures out there of the original studio model. There's a great big resource of pictures of the Pasteur, the Excelsior, and the Oberth class, and then the Kronos 1 and the original motion picture Katinga. But there doesn't seem to be as much of a big vault of pictures of this guy as there are of those. But on Modelers, Miniatures, Magic, that site, that's just a wonderful resource of information. There's been a couple studio scale builds of this that look really good, and I think that's a real nice guide, at least for lighting and then also painting. And the beauty of them is they both look different, but they look like they could be in the same squadron or whatever. So that's again another cool thing about Klingon ships, in my opinion, is they should all look a little different and have different weathering here and there, and different, you know, patches where it's been repaired, or different stripes for different squadrons and whatnot. So again, like I said in the unboxing video, it's really just a big blank canvas to have a lot of fun with. But I think our goal with this is try to keep it relatively standard green, but I probably should go with the directions color scheme, but I think I'm just going to kind of go with what feels cool. Use some of the color directions in the instructions, but then also take a look at the studio model, take a look at the big studio model replicas that are out there for reference painting, and then, like I said, also just have some fun with it. So talking about lighting, it looks like we'll need to, and I have some SMD LEDs, which I think you're probably going to need for this, unfortunately, especially for like these guys right here, these whatever lights these are, because you can see we're going to have to make a little bit of a trench in here and then drill those through and then make a little bit of a trench. Well, that's gonna be the task here, is kind of drill down into those and then drill this way, and then we can probably put a couple SMD LEDs in there for the wing lights. And then fortunately most of the lighting seems to be contained kind of in the core area. So let me pull up my pictures here of this very nice one, Kirk Kunn Global Incorporated model website, but he used to be the owner of the Modelers Miniatures website. But got a lot of good pictures of the lighted version, so we can see some windows lit. So it looks like we've got according to this one, we've got a light here. One moment, make sure we're in frame here. We've got a light here. We have one... We've got some on the sides. I don't specifically remember those, but I'm also not paying attention. Looks like we do have a couple windows here. That one's a little rough. Something's going to be a little less defined there, but it looks like they put a light like right about here. Same on the other side. And then I think top of this guy, looks like they have one right on the top there. And someone on the bottom, which is going to be probably a little trickier if you were going to put the landing gear in, which now I'm thinking since we're doing a demo, we should maybe actually want to do the landed position. Okay, it looks like we've got one about right here on the lower side, so not too many, but enough where it's going to be a little bit involved to get that all lit up. So I'm going to go ahead and just start. See what kind of we can do a little better than that. Let's see. These are wonderful, and I've got them from Harbor Freight. I think you can get them on Amazon or any other place that sells more specialty hardware or tools and things like that. But these little really nice small drill bits, but they come on this nice, solid piece here, and it's not just the tiny drill bit. I've broken a billion of these, but fortunately they're relatively cheap, but they also chuck into your pin vise or drill pretty easily. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guy out. We'll do this. And I like the nice, easy grip and nice movement of a pin vise. So we'll be using probably this guy for all these little marker lights and things like that. I'll probably get some of these guys cut off first, and then we're going to go back also and do the windows. So we're probably going to want to go probably a little bit bigger than this, but we'll go, well, it seems about the right size, if you can see that. Let's shed some light on this. Could probably maybe go one size up, but we're going to do a few across here, and then we'll come back with the X-Acto knife and get the areas in between. And I don't think I have a file that small. I mean, that's going to be too big. I have some mini files, but I think they'll be too big. So I'll just be getting those windows nice and clean. And I think I'm going to go ahead. There it is. I'm going to do this technique because I hate filling things that I don't have to fill. And you can see we've got some kind of larger parts gates there, and I have a feeling if I try cutting that off with the clippers here, it's going to get into there, and then we're going to have a kind of an ugly kind of gap or bite into that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this little razor saw here, and I'm just going to... The nice thing is, well, if I keep it in the camera, I can kind of hold it up against the side of the body so it'll be nice and straight. Go through. Boom, there you go. Then you just got to be careful you don't end up ripping that piece off, because now it's not supported as well. There we go. That looks a little better. And this one, well, that one just came off anyway. But that would probably be alright to just clip that off. So we'll go ahead, give this. I really love these diamond files. Get that down a little bit. Come through with the nice snippers here. Can come back and clean that up. And then we've got some of these guys, company called Display, whatever that is, but nice little set of sanding sponges in 180, 284, 6 and 8, and then they have ones from about 1,000 to 2,000, and then there's the polishing ones that go from 2,000 to 10,000 grit, and these are really great. I think I already have some out. A couple of these guys here. Highly recommended. Get yourself those. Mr. Hobby makes these as well, and they're soft and flexible. And then the set comes with them in different thicknesses, and those are good, especially for curved surfaces where you don't want to get a flat spot. We'll go ahead. I hate dust, even though it's the dustiest place ever. So I'm going to go ahead and here. Go ahead and make, I'll just, what the heck, let's use the bottom of that guy. Put a little water there. And then we'll take this, start with a 280 grit, get a little bit of water on that, and then we won't have as much dust to worry about. Alright, looks a little better after that. We can do some 400. And there's probably going to be some flash we'll want to get off. This is almost 30-year-old kit, so we'll probably have a little bit of flash around the edges to get rid of. A little bit right here. Go through that. Looks nice and want it to look nice and sharp. So, but you probably know how sanding works, so I'll continue with that later on. But we're gonna go ahead and try to do get some holes drilled here for the lights. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a little pilot hole. Actually, nice needle guy here, and probably see the top of my head. So one right there, and we've got a couple right there, and then we've got one right here. Let's not do that now. Alright, so I'll take my pin vise here. Alright, and one nav light. Okay, and we got those drilled out, so we got one here, and one here. Next, we'll go ahead and try the windows. I think I'll go a little one size up, maybe. Let's see. Actually, that might be too big. We'll go back to the previous one. All right, we'll try to do one of these and then go from there. I don't want to... So we drilled 4 little holes right here. I should be able to see that in the close-up shots. And now I'm going to try with this blade here. I've been using these more medical scalpel blades. You can buy a giant pack of them and they stay sharp for a long time. And then they also definitely great for decal stuff. And then, like I said, you get a giant box of them for relatively cheap, as opposed to X-Actos, which are pretty expensive now. Let's see, I've got some tiny files here. Sort of a little micro needle file set. Let's see if we can... give this a shot. I don't think that's gonna work. Oh, barely. Try this more tapered one. It's almost looking the part. And we'll have to light block this, obviously, but well, that's not going to work. It's only going to work when it's light blocked. So, but that's kind of my plan. Drill these out and then get rid of the material in between them. Kind of get in there with a file and then see if we can square it off a bit with the X-Acto here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, then we'll come back and see how that went. Okay, and we're back a bit. I've gone ahead and drilled most of the holes for the windows throughout the parts. There might be a couple left, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cheat. Unfortunately, the handy-dandy Tamiya drill doesn't accept these things, and I've already destroyed like 5 of them. I'm not... should be more delicate, but those little tiny ones, I always manage to destroy them. So something to keep an eye out for. So I've used some of these small ones that I've had in here. So I think I'm going to go tomorrow and take my little tiny Dremel and put in one of these, or very small grinding, the really small grinding needle bit, and then go through here and then hopefully take care of those. So kind of worked in this area, but I think we'll do a little bit of cheating. We got some windows right here in the front. I've got a nav light under there, under here, and I've already gone ahead, opened one of these little windows, so we can do that one here. And then I noticed something very weird with these wings, which is kind of convenient. You notice these ones already have cast into them little voids here right behind there, because probably the plastic's too thick there. But this one doesn't for some reason. So I've gone ahead and just drilled with this drill bit here, gone in there. I probably need to go back and make those a little bit bigger just to make sure those LEDs fit. And then I made a little hole right here on the top so we can string out the wires. And I'm going to use these very, very small SMD LEDs, which I've already put away, that have very thin wires, so that should be good for that, especially with these, you know, wing pieces that fit together. And it does look like we have a little bit of a gap in here to run wires, so that's pretty nice. Run those wires out of there, and then we'll have the two lights. But you want to make sure you use the very thin wires, otherwise, you know, you'll have some issues putting it down, or you'll have to cut a trench or something like that. So, and then I also drilled out the front of those. So we'll go ahead and see if we can replicate the success, or it'll be on camera and it'll be embarrassing. Either way, so I'm going to go ahead and use this guy here to minimize our gouging of the plastic. And for other Trek models, especially the old stuff, the Enterprise D kit and the Romulan Warbird too is full of giant parts gates like that, and this thing is invaluable, or a razor saw like this is invaluable for trying to get those guys off without leaving big hunks. In fact, I guess we could do it the more logical way, which would be to at least cut off the dead weight and then have a little bit easier access. That would be a good idea. Alright, so we got that cut off, those nubs out of there. That goes together not too bad. So we're going to want to go ahead and make some holes here. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the fronts. And I'm going to make a little pilot mark here. With this kind of needle. You can see we have our little, well, maybe it's two little holes at the center of that, and then we'll use this guy to open them up. Alright, and there we have our light holes. So that will be neat. And I'm also going to go ahead and make a bit of a, since most of this whole area is going to get covered with the shoulders, I'm just going to go ahead in here just a little bit further just to make sure. Add a little bit of, there we go. Little hole there, and then we'll be able to pass the wires through. Looks like that takes care of the wing prep for now. This guy, I think we're just going to do the flight version just because I think it looks so cool. And this part fits amazingly, I gotta say. It almost fits like a snap fit. There you go. Just like that. And we'll go ahead and glue that in. Use my Tamiya Extra Thin. Alright. Make sure that's nice and solid on there. Can set that aside. Now we've got to open up this little window here. And I'm just going to go ahead and drill a couple holes in it with this. Alright. Come about and just clean out the excess now that we can get the knife blade in there. These mini files are great. They're like literally mini files. 'Cause here's your like standard size one, and then you got these little mini ones. I believe I found those at Hobbytown in the tools section, so definitely recommend picking up a set of those for getting those little tiny areas that we undoubtedly encounter in modeling, especially for starship windows that have to be opened up. So this one seems to have a little more of a different shape than the other one. That one's more rectangular. That one has kind of a side that's cut a bit. We got those guys all squared away. And I think I've decided, unless I can get a really tiny drill bit to work, I'll have to see what my little grinder bits are, but this one's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I know people they're better modelers than me, but I don't know if I have it in me to try to get those and make them look nice, because this ring is supposed to light up red. I'm thinking for colors, if I could do that, I'll try to make it red, but we'll see. And then I want to probably use warm white, definitely warm white for all the windows. We're going to use probably yellow for the torpedo. And the nice thing about the torpedo is it's kind of locked into its own little section here, so you can get that LED, place that inside this, and then it'll be separated off from the rest, so you won't really have a light bleed. But I mean, having yellow spill into the windows probably wouldn't be too bad, because on the studio model it's kind of a yellow. It seems to be like a yellow warm color. We'll do that. And then for the engine, probably what we'll do is a strip of white LED tape, and then color behind the different yellow, red, and then the white. I'll probably just frost it. So I have to look at it again, see what all the different colors are, but I think it's red on the top and bottom, and then one of these is white and yellow. I think the original one, the actual thing, is supposed to, I can't remember which one it is, it's actually supposed to sink in, but I believe the upgrade kit you can buy comes with a resin and photo etch replacement for that, but we're just going to use the kit parts, so this should work fine. And then there's some areas that'll need to be masked off and then light blocked. That's part of the structure, and I think this bar right here is as well. Sort of the structure around that, so that'll be a bit of a challenge. Trying to think what else. Oh, I did have a little bit of flash here. We also had some ejector pin marks on these, which probably wouldn't be too much of an issue if you're going to have the wings down. Probably not going to notice that. But like I said, we're going to have them up like this-ish, so you're definitely going to see that. So you definitely want to get rid of that ejector pin mark, and it looks like it's sunk in a bit. I've tried sanding them, but we're going to need a little bit of filler there to make that go away. And I think that's about it. Not quite ready to start assembly yet, obviously. We will need to get those windows taken care of, and then we're going to want to go ahead and light block the inside so we don't get light bleed. That is never fun. And then we can start getting with the modeling. So I guess LED count, we will need 1, 2, 3, 4 for the other wings. 5, 6 for a strip, and then probably 7 and 8 for strips. We can probably get away with a LED strip in here and then another one in here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Did I lose count? I probably lost count. Oh well, whatever. Probably 10 to 15 LED pieces between strips and SMDs, because we'll probably want some SMDs for these guys. I think I'm going to try to use a board from HobbyLink International. That's the Starship board. It's under $20, I believe, or it's around $20. I haven't used one yet, but it looks fantastic. You've got flashers and strobes on the same circuit, and you can wire up pretty much as many as you need, and because it would be fun to have the flashers going on this guy, so we'll get that. And I believe these guys flash, I don't know, I'll have to check the references, but I don't think these ones do, except on a thing that I don't want to talk about because it could be a spoiler. I believe on the original one they're just static on. So, but that's where we're at so far, so we'll come back tomorrow after I've done a little bit of dremeling, and then we'll go from there. Okay, and we're back. It has been a bit. Got kind of distracted with commissions and some other stuff, but you can see we've definitely made a lot of progress here. As far as where we were last time, got some primer on. I feel like we'll be doing a lot of masking rather than hand brushing, but you could also probably hand paint a lot of the panels, but we'll probably be doing some, like I said, some masking. We want to make sure the masking tape does not peel up any of the paint, so I like to use Duplicolor products. You could use Tamiya products or any others that you are particularly fond of, but I really like the Duplicolor filler primer, sealing primer, all their products. So I went ahead and primered this guy up, so we'll have nice good paint adhesion, washed it too as well. And I went ahead and painted the inside black like this, and then white. I gotta go back and redo this one. Did have some light leak, but we've also gone ahead and added some LED tape. Just kind of really simple layout. I thought will probably be okay. Got 1-2 strip of the double density here, here, and here. And I think I had just kind of more of a cool white, and I wanted more of a warm white for the windows, so I actually took some Tamiya clear yellow and put it over the lenses of the LEDs, so it'll have more of a yellow warm look. And then I kept it, didn't put any of that on the rear, and so that way we'll have a different looking. They're all the same color LEDs, and we'll have a different look for the engines. Went ahead. Trying to remember, it has been a while. I'm trying to remember where we were last time. Went ahead and drilled out those guys, the red panels there, and we'll probably add a little piece of clear. It is raining here, and I guess the fire department is on the case. Clear red plastic over those, or we might add some canopy glue or clear resin or something to seal those in. We've gone ahead. This one was a bit of a challenge, to be sure. I was able to hollow that ring out, and I tried a couple things, but what ended up working the best, which may not be accessible to everybody, but if you can get one of these, very helpful. This little small Dremel here, I actually used back with one of these guys, these little tiny, every time I mask, tape gets everywhere. One of these tiny little drill bits. I don't remember which one. Knowing me, I probably obliterated it, but one of these little drill bits there. With this guy, variable speed and everything, and used that. I tried something else and it didn't work. In fact, I had an area to repair right there, so hopefully we'll get that squared away. Put a little super glue there, and hopefully that will take care of it. Might need to sand it just a little bit, but again, it's a Klingon ship, so it could be battle damaged. But like I said, was able to get those nice and drilled out. Now, one problem we do have Well, in the bench shuffle, I moved it somewhere, so I'll have to find it. But the insert for this, like the housing, not the emitter part, but actually covers all of where those holes are. So I'm still trying to figure out what the best way to go about doing that is. Get that so those light up. It would be cool if that piece was also casting clear, but it is not. So we'll have to figure out something to be able to mount the back piece on whilst being able to keep those accessible for lights, because that's just a cool effect with the ring there. Be able to have that in red lights and then have the emitter have an orange or yellow color. Will look pretty cool. Kind of painted these guys up a little bit. I did some Tamiya NATO black over it, and then kind of just misted over some, I believe it was Vallejo, probably duraluminum or jet exhaust, one of those, kind of one of the darker ones, maybe dark aluminum, to give that effect. I also want to kind of maybe go over it with some graphite powder, might be kind of a cool effect. But so those guys are looking good. As far as the guns, I did drill the barrels out just a little bit. Hopefully that's showing up on the camera. Just to make those look a little nicer, since they're just flat plastic pieces. What else? But that's pretty much it as far as updates are concerned. So we'll go ahead and pause here for a second. Let's see if we can get this wired up so we can check out the lights. Okay, so got this hooked up. I always leave a long amount of wire for my main power so I can connect to my power supply, but we'll go ahead and pop this on. Zoop. So you can see, like I said, these are the same types of LED strips. This kind of it's not as cool white, but more kind of in the middle. Not as like blue cool white, and then just with a little bit of Tamiya made it yellow there. So we'll go ahead and pop this guy on. Obviously there'll be a lot of light leak issues to deal with when we glue it together, but I think I have a cool looking ship there. Let me kill some of the lights here. Get a better look. So I think that'll do just fine. So yeah, just three strips of LED tape will light this guy. I'm still debating if I want to bother with nav lights. I might just add some, especially for expediency, since this has taken a while. Maybe just add some resin there, just so those light up, but maybe not flash. So again, got that there. So looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and hopefully move on to painting here soon, so that's pretty exciting. Actually, one little addendum, I had it at 12 volts, I knocked it down to even just 9 volts, and it still looks pretty good here, even in the light. And those windows will all look a lot better when go back and put some canopy glue or clear resin in there. So, all right, now let's figure out what's next. Okay, and we're back. You can see we've made some progress here. That's always good. We do have the flasher circuit from Hobby Link International in here, and for 18 bucks, you can't really beat that. I just have it on strobes, but it also has the flasher circuit as well. But you can see we've got our strobes going, and I'm very excited about that. Well, I guess it's out and kind of out there now, but in Picard Season 3, when we saw the bounty, I noticed they had these side lights flashing, which I don't think they ever did in the show that I can recall, or any of the movies, so I've just kept those on static, and I used some warm white, 2 SMDs pre-wired with resistors for each of those, and so those just stick through there, but it does look like we need to do some light blocking. And then same right here, I think this guy will need some light blocking. Let's see if this is too dark. There we go. Get it. We'll just go with that. Maybe able to see-ish. Probably looks like we need some more light blocking there, and then that one as well down here. And I'll probably just go over with Tamiya flat black is basically what I've been doing for that, so you can kind of see I've been doing some light blocking here and there with that. Well, this guy fell off. I did start painting. We can probably get the light back on here. I did start painting the cloaking device ring, and I painted that with, I did go with Archive X Boxcar Red. Looked like a good color for that, but I bet Tamiya Hull Red would be a good color, or any kind of those, you know, duller reds would be a pretty good color for this guy. But that's just one part. But I think we're almost ready for paint, which is going to be an ordeal. But other than some light blocking here, and like I said, I'm just going to go over with some Tamiya flat black. On the underside, we did have some light leaks. Hopefully this will cooperate while turning over. Light leaks all around here. All the seams pretty much had light leaks, especially under here. There was a pretty big one. So, but I pretty much did the lazy way. And I took some of this Vallejo plastic putty with the nice sharp applicator tip, and then just basically ran it along the seam there, and then wiped it away. And I mean, if you want a perfectly smooth thing, it's gonna take some effort to get to that point. I've noticed with this, because as it dries, it shrinks, and you could potentially get ghost seams and stuff like that. But I'm kind of okay with this the way it is. But basically, I just wanted it to fill and not get that light blocking in there, because I think a lot of that we'll be able to get away with the weathering and the paint job and everything. But so that worked out pretty well there. I was actually surprised we were able to get rid of the seams. And then I've taken some, I put some plastic on the other side of this, just some of this, do I have some sitting here? I think I put it away, but it's some, you can get it at hobby stores, Hobby Lobby type place, and it's actually like a stencil making material. Let me pause, pull some out. Here we go. I love this stuff. Stencil blanks, show-offs. Like I said, you can get it at Hobby Lobby, and it's actually this, I use it on all sorts of stuff, props, ships, whatever, and it's this, has a film on it, so that you can peel that off and do whatever, but it's actually transparent or translucent. You can see the light going through there, and it's a great diffuser. I don't know if that'll show up very well, but with a brighter light you can see it a little better. But basically I put a piece of that in there. On the other side we did take out that hole, and behind that I just painted it to me a clear red, and then I've taken some of this, one of my favorite masking products, Liquid Mask Vallejo, and just pushed it in there, and that'll keep that, and then we'll be able to peel it off. I like this stuff more. I like more of the rubbery-ish latex mask. I've had some other masks that dry hard. I've even had one like craze a piece of clear plastic, which was really weird, and I can't remember. I think that was the Microsol, or the whatever, the same company that makes Microsol. whatever their liquid mask. I remember it crazed the plastic on a deflector dish somehow. It was very bizarre. So, but I love this stuff. This is my favorite. Because I used to use the one that I think Squadron made one, and then they stopped making it, or somebody like that, but it's pretty good. This one, and also, I guess, another product I would recommend for masking, my other new favorite one is Mr. Masking Saw Neo. You got your big, nice applicator there. So, definitely recommend either of these products. They work about the same. This one's usually a little more liquidy, I guess, but they turn out and they're nice rubbery kind of latex, and you can peel it off easily. So we got that, and so those will come off really nice. Let's see here. What else? Actually, one thing we probably do need to do before painting is get the engine installed because of the seam around the edges. We don't want, light coming out of the side of there. So we'll need to go ahead. Probably what I'll do is paint the insides the different colors. So I think it's reddish orange on the top, bottom, and then white and yellow for these two mid parts. I don't remember which one's which. And then paint that on the inside, mask off the clear parts, and then glue it onto here, and then we can paint it part of the whole body, so that way it doesn't look, tacked on afterwards. And then make sure we get the seams around the edges and stuff like that. This, the torpedo emitter, we'll probably be able to add afterwards, with not too much difficulty. I've gone ahead, and this was a bit of an ordeal. Let's see if we can get this on the camera to get this guy cleared out. The answer was there. It was glue it in first, then drill it out, instead of drilling it out and then seeing that the windows don't quite are covered by the thing and having to drill them out again. So if I were to do this again, I would glue in the insert piece here, then go ahead and drill out the little windows, kind of save yourself a step there. Since I already kind of got a yellow look for the lights, I got a little more yellow than I had hoped, but it's Klingon ship. I'm going to go with it. I've got those rings looking really nice. And then we'll try to remember, are the rings red? Now I have to go look it up if the rings are red or if the torpedo's red and the one's yellow. So I'll have to get that. But either way, we can come back after it's done with some clear resin and get those filled up. And then also probably get some Tamiya clear red over those at the end, so that should be good on that. And then I think other than that, getting those things squared away, we will be ready for paint. Now with paint, that is a good question. I think they recommend green zinc chromate, and I have a Vallejo green zinc chromate. I was thinking maybe trying some of this Tamiya IJN XF71. There we go, cockpit green. Maybe not for the whole body, but some other parts. And then I was also thinking about using some of these Archive X paints. And I'm not going to match the studio model perfectly for the accent colors, but I do want to try to get the base color as close to the studio model as possible. And I don't know, this 1975 light green might be a good choice. But we'll see. Either that, and in a miracle, I managed to find my missing turret on this guy, and I was very, very excited about that. And I'm trying to remember what I painted this. I think it was Vallejo green zinc chromate, but I can't remember if I might have mixed it or not. But you can see all the different shades for the feathers, and that is definitely the look I want to go for on this guy. So I think that is all for this update. When we come back, I'm hoping when we come back that this thing's going to have at least the main base color of green on it. So, or actually probably need to show progress on this guy. So that'll be next. Okay, I think it's time. I think it's time for paint. We've fuddled around with it for long enough, and I think it is time to paint this guy. So just a couple little things. I've gone ahead and painted up the engine part. A couple pictures to insert there. You can see we went ahead and first painted the yellow band, which is the long rectangle, and then we went ahead and painted the painted the red. And I just used, for the yellow, I used Tamiya clear yellow, and then for the red, Tamiya clear red for the top and bottom sections, and then I just went ahead and I masked the yellow and the white section off, put a piece of tape, masked that off, painted it the red on the top and bottom, and then misted over it with white, so that way we'd get the white sections, and then everything would be kind of light blocked, so that way you wouldn't be able to see into the engine, and it'll still give a nice look to it. And then, like I said, we got the white area painted. You could frost it if you wanted to. I just wanted to use the white to give kind of a milky plastic look. Hopefully it works. And then went ahead and masked with tape the top, the bottom, the long rectangle, and then for the little squares, I actually just used liquid mask. I didn't feel like cutting that many tiny squares in the tape. Guess I could have done it on the vinyl cutter, but that sounds like a whole thing. So just took some liquid mask, and it perfectly dropped into the little squares there, so hopefully those will peel off okay. The nice thing is I'm using mostly, well, acrylics, and I found, depending on the acrylic, you can go and just with a little toothpick and clean it off, and it won't scratch the plastic. Ideally, clean toothpick, so you can kind of get that, and then you can, if needed, buff it out, use some Tamiya polishing compound or something like that if needed. But we got those all masked off, but I painted it black to light block it. That way all the frame, we won't have light coming through that, hopefully. And it seems to be doing all right. Kind of tested it under my lamp as I was working on it, so that's good. And it actually really fits on there pretty tightly, I gotta say, if I put it on the right way. So I might actually just leave it as is, and if for whatever reason you need to get back in there, this can pop right off, but unless there's some kind of light leak, but we'll see about that. I don't think there should be because of the kind of the steps around the kind of the border underneath there, so hopefully that won't be too much of an issue, and if it is, we can get that cleaned up after painting. But and then I did go back with some actually Stynel Res primer that I had lying around and airbrush that to more neutralize the color. I mean, it's not as gray as the Duplicolor primer, but at least it's not, black and then gray, so that'll make that easier to color match. But again, it's a Klingon ship. I'm fine with it. It's a big ship. Well, relatively. So as far as base color, I'm thinking I actually went here and kind of did a little sampler. You can see. So I did a Vallejo pale green, which I set somewhere, but that's kind of this lighter green. This is Model Master pale green, which I believe is this pale green with the filthy bottle. And then just kind of did little samplers on here to find what looked best, and this is going to get covered anyway, but Tamiya Cockpit Green Model Master, what's that called? Green Zinc Chromate. I believe this is the color they recommend on the directions, and that's looking pretty good. I kind of want to match this, which it looks a little lighter or not as intense green, so I think I might go with this pale green. I really actually like that a lot. But I'm probably going to end up using all of these. Even this, we've got Japanese Army gray, which is kind of a greenish color. We've got some of the Archive X paints here, the greens, different greens, and just kind of have some fun with it. I want it to look similar to this, but I'm not going to do it exactly like this, but I'm also not going to do it exactly like the studio model, and just have some fun. There's some pretty good pictures out there. I don't remember where I saved ones that I have. I know there's some fantastic builds on Modelers, Miniatures, Magic, whatever it's called, of some studio scale ones that are some really good color reference. But like I said, probably at the beginning, I don't know how long have we been doing this. I don't even remember what I have started and haven't said, but you know, I always thought the Klingon Bird of Prey should have all looked different and have different paint schemes and things like that. So definitely going to go for this look, but I think I want to incorporate some more, like, you know, boxcar red or kind of a red oxide primer look. You know, maybe have a bigger section of panels have some red on it, you know, like they're new, because all the props from Search for Spock onward, all the Klingon props are basically this color, either ruddy brown or ruddy red oxide kind of colors. So I thought that'd be cool to incorporate more into the ship. But I believe kind of it almost looks like, if you look at the studio model pictures, there's the under, you know, like you have these like armor plates, but then underneath that is kind of more of a gunmetal or gray, dark gray color. So it's like there's a hull, and then these are like, you know, plated on top of it kind of look. So I might do that, and I think that might be doable with like a wash, to come back and do that afterwards, but we'll see about that. But I think I'm going to start and go ahead and start with our pale green. Can you believe I have Model Master paints? Does this paint even liquid anymore? And it's sealed on there, so we'll get the Jaws of Life to get that off. But yeah, I'm excited. It's paint time! Alright, back with a little addendum. I didn't even notice that we kind of have a natural light blocking with that lip there, so we might be able to go ahead and add this afterwards. Which isn't probably showing up too well, but that fits on there really nicely. With a little bit of glue, that'll fit down, and I think we'll get some nice natural light blocking from the rim around there. But on to the masking. Okay, it has been a bit, yeah, since our last filming here. We'll do the slightly more boring part first. I did decide to went ahead and painted the base. I used one of the larger bases with the hollow tube for lighting. I've got my jack all set up there. Got these on Amazon. You can use them with 9 or 12 volt power supplies. And I just buy them as just the cables, and they have longer cables, and you can just clip them off and then wire them up. Get a pack of 20 or whatever it is. So went ahead and did that. I went pretty basic with the base style, since the main show should be the model. I went ahead and cut out some shapes on my vinyl cutter, circle, and then the tray foil, and then just painted it with, I think it was Daylight Red, SP Daylight Red from Archive X, and then Engine Black, and that was just colors I had there. You can paint them whatever you want. It seems like the TNG Klingon symbol is more closer to this, and it was easier to paint rather than doing the red, blue, yellow, green, but also it looks cool, more subtle. And then I just went over it with, or I guess I should say I started with this color, Vallejo German Red Brown. Kind of looks like the ruddy brown primer they used, ruddy brown color they used on a lot of the Klingon props and sets. So painted that, and then did the circle, then did the tray foil, then misted over with the same black, got some overspray on it, did a little like flicking motion to get like drops on there, and then finally went over with just a piece of foam, packing foam from something, dipped it in some Vallejo metallizer aluminum, and then just dabbed it on there, scraped it, tried to make it look nice and worn, but tried to keep it simple. Sometimes I get too complicated and then it looks ridiculous because it didn't turn out the way I hoped, and then I got to start over anyway, so I was like, let's just keep it simple. So there's that, and then the thing that goes on it will be this guy right here. So you can see we definitely skipped filming a few steps. It was one of those, you just get into it and it starts happening. So I started with the Model Master Pale Gray. It looked a little too pale once I started, because I just went ahead and started hand brushing a lot of the colors on there. I was not feeling masking every one of these. Unfortunately, a better modeler and more patient modeler would do that, and it would look a lot better. But I just went ahead and hand painted a lot of those, and I used a lot of the Archive X colors because, and you don't have to use these. This is just what I had, and but you could use Vallejos or probably even Citadel paints, acrylic paints. Tamiya, I find when you brush Tamiya, it will you can go over it and it's fine, but you can paint it down okay, but then when you go over that same area, if it's not totally dry, it'll peel up that layer. So I find brushing with Tamiya acrylics sometimes a little frustrating. Depends on the color, depends on the situation. So I usually prefer like these kind of acrylics for doing hand brushing, and they usually dry pretty fast too. So, and then the nice thing is you can go over them again. I had multiple areas where I, went over the line or whatever, and then just went back over it with the Model Master Pale Green. So, but like I said, used a lot of these colors, tried to make the reds look a little different. That was the other nice thing about doing the hand brushing. I mean, it doesn't look exactly like you would hope, but it does kind of give them a mottled, weathered appearance, which kind of looks neat, makes it look worn, as you can see. Went to town with the wear. I didn't totally follow the studio model in regards to the paints. You can see the different colors on the top. I thought it'd be fun. Eventually I got into... well, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So these were a dark gray, and then kind of misted over them with whichever one of these metallics, and kind of dry brushed, and then also stained them with some wash. More panels all around. This was boxcar red for the cloaking device. And basically just painted all the panels, and then just the weathering, went to town on that. So I used some of the Tamiya panel line accent colors for the rust all over. I used a sponge and probably some not quite black, kind of this weathered brownish black. You could use like a NATO black or something with the sponge. Where I just had it. Well, one of those sponges go around, especially this, because it looks like there's a lot of that on the studio model. I liked that look. So I tried to copy that, and then I think I used some of this, and then a MIG ammo wash. It was like oil stain to do a lot of the paneling washes and stuff like that. So, and then for this guy, I think we recorded this, masked it the top and bottom with tape, and then used some liquid mask for the yellow areas, and I think I just had one piece of tape for the white. Looks okay. If you look down into it lighted, it's a little splotchy, unfortunately, but it's a Klingon ship. This was an interesting test here to tackle here, the emitter area. What I actually ended up doing, so I went with my Dremel on the tiniest little bit and hollowed those out after it had all kind of been glued, make sure you know, it had clear pathways to the light. Tried to seal it up around the edges, so because as I was drilling this way, it kind of opened up into the torpedo area. Was able to fill it with like super glue and then paint it over it. But also the launcher piece kind of covers a little bit of that up. But I actually went ahead and used, to me, a clear red and just got it into the holes, and it's really thick and glossy, so it dried, you know, basically as like a little resin or whatever, like a canopy glue. So all those are filled, but I just used the paint to do that, and that was after painting. I used canopy glue in the windows, so that way we just don't have open voids into the ship. So all that's with the clear canopy glue, and then I used some clear 3D print resin for all the marker lights. Just dabbed a little bit and then used my UV flashlight to harden those up, and then I also let it get in the sun a bit just to make sure they stayed or got nice and cured. What else? At one point I did do some actual airbrushing. I did go over some of the green with, I think I had Model Masters, I put it here somewhere, Model Masters green zinc chromate, which I believe is, I think they recommend, I don't remember which one they recommend in the old directions, but I think green zinc chromate is what they actually recommend for it. But I kind of liked the lighter look, but not, it was too light, so I did go over it again with some of the green zinc chromate, so it does have a little bit of texture in the green areas. And then, like I said, went to town on the weathering and the rust, obviously. That'll be cool if the back panels look red, or rusty red. So, but again, it's Klingon. Have fun with it. I had fun with it. Once I got past my, oh, it's got to look this way, it's got to look so cool. Like, no, just paint it. Just paint the thing. Just paint it. It'll look neat. Or it won't. Either way, just paint it. So, but yeah, that's where this guy is at so far. I still have to do the decals, and then with the base finish painting that, I will be able to get this mounted on there, and that'll look pretty good. I think we'll save lighting it. I did post a video of the lighting on my pages there, so you can check that out as a little preview, but we'll save the final portion of it all lit up and on its stand and everything. So keep feeling like I'm forgetting something, but I feel like it's just the decals. We'll probably have to go over the decals. I really don't want to clear coat it, because I feel like it'll ruin a lot of the paint. Like, it'll just look different, and I don't know. I don't really want to go that, so I feel like we're going to be using a lot of microsol, microset, just to make sure the decals get nice and stuck down. And then I might probably have to go over it with like a flat or something, or maybe I've seen sometimes people sand just very delicately the tops of the decals. We'll see. Either way, I got to make a match. I can't just have a glossy sticker-looking thing sitting there. So we'll definitely want to match that. If it's just going over it with a little bit of flat or something like that, and doing the weathering so it matches in there, definitely want to do that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of on that. But yeah, like I said, just a symphony of different colors. You can use this one as a guide, or look for the studio model pictures, or just have fun with your own again. Whoa, motion sickness. Make one like this. So, but yeah, next little segment should be it all finished up. Okay, and we are done with the ship. Is very exciting. It's some better lighting on there. As you can see, it's mounted on the base. I will have to shoot some auxiliary footage since we're using the webcam here. It's a little awkward, but it'll do for this portion. You can see it's mounted on its base. And got the decals on. Used a combination of some Walthers, Solvaset, and Markfit Strong to get them down, especially the wingtip ones. I did go ahead and not glue these in. They fit in pretty nicely, so hopefully they'll pop out instead of the cannons breaking off if something happens. So I especially needed that over this guy, what with all the ridges and such. So those went on okay. The wing decals as well. The only ones that I kind of had to do some extra work on were the ones for the shoulders here. So they come basically as something. I've already put them away. But they come as bigger versions for the wings down. And they need to be trimmed, so and it's like, here's the wings down version, so they should fit this, but how you kind of have to cut them, and I'll insert some pictures. The way I did it is I cut them, as you can see in here, where I put some tape down as kind of a template, and then made sure it's lost most of its tackiness so it doesn't pull up any decals, put it on the decal and cut it to that, and then just kind of flipped it over and did the same for the other side. So the shape doesn't quite match up, so you do have to do some a little bit of cutting to get them to fit on this. And then I'm not sure if you even would apply those on the landed ones. I'm not sure if it's like they might be all the way up, so I don't even think you'd apply those on the landed ones. But yeah, so that was the most probably difficult part of the decals, but not too bad. And then I didn't bother doing the rear ones as I already had the wings glued on there because of the wiring. But I noticed on the studio model there's some more text on the sides here, but they didn't have that. But I think it's probably very microscopic, so we can probably give that a pass. So we'll go ahead and plug it in. Like I said, I just used one of those 9 volts or 9 to 12 volt connectors, and I just have a plug in there. I don't have a switch, and that's fine for my displays. I usually just plug them into a power strip and then turn them all off and on. So, but yeah, there he is, and I do have some kind of noise going on outside. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I didn't glue on the engine, which actually worked out really well, as I had a little wiring snafu. I had the negative wire come off, and I had to perform some surgery, popped that off. I did have to take a wing off at the shoulder and actually cut into it a bit. So make sure all your wiring's secured before you seal it up. So, but I was glad I didn't glue that down, but it's nice and secure on there. But yeah, that is the 2023 release of the Klingon Bird of Prey. Great kit, pretty much one of the better vintage kits, I would say. The retro kits from the old AMT days, and they've only made it better with all the landing gear and everything, and being able to have the cool, more aggressive flight mode rather than the original versions, just kind of straight out flat mode, which looks okay, but it doesn't have the, I don't know, this looks a little more menacing, and that's how I always remembered them looking. That's how it kind of looks in Star Trek 4 when they stop the whaling ship, and how it looks in TNG when you see them as covert class, or they're flying around with Gowron and all that stuff. One minor irritating thing I noticed later on, is there do appear to be running flashing lights on either side right about here. And I noticed I was watching Redemption and whatever one is before Redemption that has a Bird of Prey. And I can't think of it. Some season 4 episode. Anyway, I noticed that there were flashers on the side, and I was like, ah, nuts. So I just don't know if I didn't notice that or they added those in TNG. I assume they were always there, and I just wasn't paying attention. So, oh well, too bad. But I'll take this is fine. This is fine. So anyway, go ahead and put some pictures and videos up, but that is it. I guess also just to recap, lighting, strip LEDs. They were actually just regular white. I did color them with a little bit of yellow clear just to give them a more Klingon warm look. The flasher circuit is from HobbyLink International. It's about $15 or 18, something like that. Has setters for flashers and strobes, so you can put it in Klingon ships, Starfleet, anything pretty much. It's really just an amazing little board. It's super easy to wire up. So easy even I could do it, and I hate doing flashing lights on the starships. Just put windows in. Windows only. That's fine. I don't need any flashing things. But no, this board was fantastic, and it's about that big too, so you can put it pretty much anywhere. Mostly used some Testers Model Master because they had the color I liked, and then some Archive X paints. But again, it's Klingon. You can go haywild with it. And then construction, fairly simple. Some gaps kind of in the side, kind of in the neck area, but pretty easily filled. And yeah, that is about it. So we'll I don't know if I put future editing put just better shots of this over our bad webcam footage or what. And then, you know what, we're gonna bring out the Katinga and have a little thing. We're gonna get all the 350 Klingons together. That's 2 guys, 2 ships. So that'll be good. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Somehow I hope you made it all the way through, and I thank you for it. And my apologies to Mario and the All Scale Trek group for taking way too long at this, but hopefully it was worth it, or at least acceptable. So thank you so much. Take care, and happy modeling. Keep on trekking.